Roblox games are usually the same. So to fix that, I'm going to be making a completely unique game. So I loaded up a new project and got started. Firstly, I made a little testing track and made a little car for the player. After that, I added some controls. Also, don't worry about mobile and controller support. I totally won't forget it and have to worry about it at the last minute. Wait, this is that overused joke. But wait, this is where the game gets interesting because I'm adding more cars with unique abilities. But to see all of them, you'll have to watch till the end. And I also made a gambling machine, and I get it. This concept is more overused than the word what in Playboi Carti's songs.
I told my boy go roll like 10 plus 1.
But this is my game and I get to do whatever I want. And also I'll make another way of getting cars later in the video. And with that, the game was playable but it was still looking bad. So I had to polish it up a little bit. So I started with UI. And if you don't know what UI is, don't worry, because I'm going to explain it with an overcomplicated animation to make it seem more complex than it actually is. For starters, UI stands for User Interface. The user interface covers everything that's not part of the 3D world. So three-dimensional objects like meshes are not part of UI, but buttons, labels, frames, etc. are. So I made a bunch of UI stuff and it was boring as fuck. If you're a UI designer, then mad respect to you for not losing your mind. Anyways, with the UI done, my game was looking better, but it's still a bit unsatisfying to play. So I moved on to special effects to make my game as stimulating as the short-form content nowadays. So after watching a tutorial, I figured that I had to use Unity's particle system. Oh, sorry, Roblox's particle system. A great system for making particles. I made a few particles, and it honestly wasn't that bad. Holy shit, don't tell me this took 2 hours to illustrate how I felt. Here's a meme from 2015.
What? What the fuck?
After that, I added some sound effects that I totally did not take from a public Google Drive containing every sound effect from CS Racing. Why would I do that? An overused joke again? And I also made an effect for the ability that is totally not taken from another game. And he tripled down on overused jokes. And now it was time to make the cars. And you'd probably think that I could just use Blender, which is free. So that's the easy part, right? Well, not exactly. Because I don't know how to use Blender. Now that was a lot of sound effects. So after watching a useful tutorial, this is what I had. Maybe I should watch the rest of the series.
A few moments later.
So after spending 8 hours to watch it in the span of 2 days and still not knowing anything about Blender, I can say that this is like one of those binge watching series. But at least I had a cool donut animation.
Donut, 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 junior, double, triple, donut.
Don't say I didn't warn you. Anyways, now let's move on to the cars. The first car I made is this go-kart. Now I just gotta import it into Roblox and it should be
What the hell?
Well, this is clearly missing some parts, but why? Well, to better understand it, I'm going to explain it with yet another overcomplicated animation. 3D objects consist of vertices, edges, and faces. Every face has a front face and a back face. The computer only renders the front faces, so having a back face exposed can result in a weird-looking object. So basically, I messed up the whole face direction thing, so my car looked very weird. So I had to spend like an hour flipping every single face that was looking in the wrong direction. And if it wasn't enough, now that my game has real models, not just bricks, it decided to just fucking not work. So yeah, I had to figure out a way to deal with that as well. After that, I made some more cars and gave them abilities. But now let's talk about how the cars operate. So each car has a max speed and an acceleration stat. The max speed is, you guessed it, the maximum speed of the car. And the acceleration is basically how much more speed you get from taking a turn. So here I gained 39 speed from taking a turn, and the basic speed gain is 30. So the acceleration of this car is 1.3. But I multiplied it by 10, because 13 sounds better. But now it's time for the thing you've all been waiting for. Data stores. Just kidding. I've already done that, so you don't have to sit through it. It's time for the abilities. Go-kart. Gain some extra speed from every turn for the next few seconds. Off-road. Gain some extra speed from every timing other than perfect for the next few seconds. NASCAR. Every timing is perfect for the next few seconds. Formula 1. Increase the max speed to infinite for the next few seconds. Dragster. Gain some speed instantly, but lose some in the next turn. After that, I started working on the gambling machine because it was looking pretty lame. Firstly, I made the box, which was way easier than the cars. For comparison, making one car took me about 3 hours and a mental breakdown. While making this box took me like 15 minutes. And it was a pleasant experience. Then I made this very cool box opening animation, and I have to say, I'm really happy with the result. This took 5 fucking hours. Now the actual gambling wasn't really random, because turns out computers just can't generate random numbers. Kinda like when you just can't yawn. So after some research, I found a module that generates actual random numbers using random.org. And if you don't know what module scripts are, don't worry, because I'm going to explain it. I also added a car level system, so getting the same car over and over again doesn't feel that pointless. I also made a reward system, so you can actually get coins to spend on gambling. But the track was still looking pretty bad, so I made some assets that I would imagine being in relation with racetracks, and just spammed them everywhere I could. I also did the same thing with the lobby, but instead of these fences, I made some weird shapes that every game uses for map borders. After that, I made some more tracks ranging from easy to extreme difficulty. After that, I made the shop with some offers and game passes. And I think you remember me mentioning another way of obtaining cars. Well, here it is, the diamond shop, where you can spend your diamonds on cars. But how do you get diamonds, you may ask? Well, if you have a car maxed out, then you get diamonds instead of the car. So you can buy cars that you actually need. It's actually done. I can't believe it.
Flashback.
Also, don't worry about mobile and controller support. I totally won't forget it and have to worry about it at the last minute. Dang, I was actually foreshadowing there. So I made some boring platform support stuff and also a loading screen, and it was actually done. Also, I called the game Speed Champions. Not that one. Game link is somewhere in the comments. Now please subscribe because I spent 4 months making this game.